Okay guys, so we're going to be talking about 4.3 B lesson, and I actually started that and got a phone call, so I had to bug out for a minute. Okay, I'm back. So 4.3 B lesson, we're solving and graphing these inequalities. This is much more complicated than 4.3 A was, which should have been a review. The last lesson should have been a review, okay? All right, so solution set. We talked about that in the last lesson. Now that we have inequalities, we've got many answers to these. It's no longer x equal 5, for example. Okay, now it's x equal 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 1,000, all the way up to infinity, depending on what the situation is, the context is. All right, so what are some possible values of x? So when I started the video a bit ago, I was talking about how think of numbers you can throw in here that makes this inequality a true statement. Okay, so if I throw an 8 in there, 7 is bigger than 6. If I throw a 9 in there, 8 is bigger than 6. If I throw 100 in there, 99 is bigger than 6. I could go on and on and on and on forever putting down values for this solution set. Okay, so it just has to write some possible values. All right, now to solve algebraically, we're going to do exactly what we did when this was an equal sign. Exactly. Okay, so we add 1 to both sides by the additive inverse property, or the inverse of addition. Okay, and then we get x is greater than 7. Please do not put an equal sign here. This is not equals. This is greater than. There are many answers to this problem. Okay, and that's where I got the phone call and had to bail out. So let me jump back in here. So I'm going to go ahead. I want a number to the left of this number, which would be 6, and it doesn't matter where you start on here. 6, 7, and 8. We need an open circle because this doesn't have an equal to with it. And then we're shading to the right. This is the tip of the arrow pointing that way. So we're shading this way. Okay. All right. Now some possible values for this inequality. Okay, if I put a 2 in here, 2 times 2 would be 4. 4 is less than 6. If I put a 0 in there, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 is less than 6. What if I put like a negative 10 in there? That would be negative 20. Negative 20 is less than 6. Okay, so let's do this algebraically now. Okay, we would divide by 2 or multiply by a half. Doesn't matter which way you go. If I take half of 2x, I've got my plain old 1x is less than half of 6 is 3. Okay, so my answer is going to be, I want a number to the left of it, I want it, and I want a number to the right of it. Open circle, shaded this way. Okay, so every number to the left of 3 is a solution to this problem, including the fractions and decimals between these intervals. Okay. All right, getting a little tougher now. What is the solution set for this? 3x minus 7 is greater than or equal to 13. What are some possible values of x? Okay, if I put a 10 in here, 30 minus 7, that is bigger than or equal to 13. What if I put 100 in here? That works also. What if I put like 1,000 in there? Couldn't I keep going forever? Okay. Now let's do this algebraically like we did when we had equal signs. So the first thing you did with an equal sign is you added 7 to both sides. So 3x is greater than or equal to 20. Okay, and then we take a third or divide by 3. So that would be x is greater than or equal to 20 thirds. Okay, now 20 thirds, it's important to think about that as a mixed number because we have to get it on this number line. So 20 thirds, or that would be 6 2/3. Okay, now 6 2/3 is between two numbers. What two numbers is it between? It's between 6 and 7. 6 2/3 is going to be, it's going to be a closed circle, a little closer to the 7, and then we're shading to the right. Okay, that one got a bit tougher. Okay, now remember, I don't need all these little etch marks filled out. I can tell what the scale is by the 6 and the 7, and I always like a number before it and a number after it. Do not write fractions on your scaled number line. Please keep it integers. And then your dot, open or closed circle, will be between those integers for a fractional answer. Okay. Now, we're just going to go about solving. So feel free to pause and do as many as you can and maybe look at my solutions to make sure you're getting them right. But you should be able to do all of these because they are just like they were with equal signs. Okay, so first step is to subtract 8 from both sides. X is greater than 10. Okay, over here on the number line, I want a 9, 10, and 11, an open circle, and we're shading to the right. So this answer means anything larger than 10 works in this inequality. Any number larger than 10, including decimals and fractions, works. Okay, this guy. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So x is less than or equal to negative 16 plus 2 is negative 14. Okay, now be very careful when you put negatives on a number line. Sometimes kids do them backwards. Okay, so I would have the number to the left on a number line of negative 14 is negative 15. And then there's negative 14, and then there's negative 13. Okay, so I've got a closed circle on negative 14, and I'm shading to the left. Okay, a little bit uglier number. I'm going to add 10 and a half to both sides. So I've got V on the right side. I've got this symbol this way. I just brought it straight down. Now a negative 28 plus 10 and a half, that's negative 17 and a half. Now, please do not ever graph when the letter is on the right, because I will guarantee you, I see it every year, most students would shade to the left. Please take a moment. You remember that in the lesson last time. Please take a moment and write the letter on the left and the number on the right, the big alligator mouth by the letter V in this case. Okay, now when we have a fraction, remember what I said, we're not putting fractions on the number line. We're going to put the integer on the left of this, which is negative 18, and we're going to put negative 17, an open circle smack dab in the middle of that interval, shaded, that's pointing to the right. Okay. This guy, you're going to divide by 4, that's the inverse operation, or multiply by 1/4, that's the same thing. Y is greater than negative 2. So on this number line, I want a negative 3, a negative 2, and negative 1. Please note the order of negatives. It seems backwards to some kids. Stop and think about it though. Further left would be negative 3 and negative 2. Open circle, shaded right. Okay, this guy. We're going to divide or take a third. Divide by 3 or take a third. So we've got P, bringing down that inequality the way that it is. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Okay, now again, please do not graph right now. The letter's on the wrong side. Many of you would shade to the left. I see it all the time. Please take the extra 5 seconds to put the big alligator mouth by the P. Now it's very clear. I need a 6, 7, and 8, a closed circle, shaded left. I'm sorry, shaded right. Okay, this last one. Take a half of both sides or divide by 2 to do the inverse operation. Negative 15 halves, I'm going to write that down, but we need to think of that so we can put it on a number line. Negative 15 halves would be negative 7.5 as a mixed number. Okay, 2 things I want to talk about. The first one, the letter's on the wrong side. Get the letter here, get the number here. Big alligator mouth needs to be by the number. Okay, now we're in the right form. Now, as far as the number line goes, please do not label the number line with fractions. Okay, the integer to the left of this would be negative 8, and to the right of it would be negative 7. And we're going to do an open circle right smack dab in the middle of that interval. And we're shading, it's pointing that way. See this arrow tip right here is the same thing as this arrow tip right here. Okie doke. All right. A few more, and they're getting harder as we go. Okay, so we're going to subtract a 13. 4r is less than 9 minus 13. You can think of that as 9 plus a negative 13. That's a, hold on, I'm not on the right page, sorry. It is a negative 4. 9 minus 13 is a negative 4. All right, now we've got to take a fourth or divide by 4. That leaves us with an r is less than negative 1. So negative 2, negative 1, 0. Open circle, shaded left. Okay, this guy, subtract 8 to start this problem. That would be 3 is greater than or equal to 6n. Divide by 6 or take a sixth. Let me write it like this because I know some of you do that way. I like to switch kind of on and off so I cover everybody sometimes. All right, a sixth of 6n is a 1n. A sixth of 3 6 is 1/2. Okay, think of it this way. 3 over 1 times 1 over 6. Okay, that would simplify to 1/2. Okay, now, 2 things wrong. Let's get them right. We need the n here and the half here. Big alligator mouth by the half. And again, we're not putting halvesies on this number line. We're putting the integer that's left of this, which is 0, and the number to the right of this, which is 1. Closed circle. And then we're shading left. All right, this guy we're adding 75. 5n is greater than or equal to, that would be a negative 60. Okay, we're going to divide by 5 or take a fifth. That would be n is greater than or equal to, that comes out to be negative 12. Okay, so the number to the left of that, negative 13, negative 12, negative 11. Closed circle on negative 12, shaded right. Okay, number 13, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 12 to both sides. 32k is greater than 32 minus 12 is 20. Take a half or divide by 2. Half of 2k is 1k. Half of 20 is 10. On a number line, 9, 10, 11, open circle. On 10, shaded right. Last one, and then I want to talk about how you check these, and then we're all done. We're going to subtract the 16 this time because we want this 4x by itself. So we have 4x, this symbol, -4 and -16 is -20. Okay, don't try to change the order. Don't try to get the 4x over here. Let's do that at the end. If you do too many things in one step, you're going to miss something. Okay, so we're going to take a fourth or divide by 4. This would be -5. This stays the same, and this stays an x. All right, that's backwards. I want an x here, and I want a -5 here because I know most of you are going to shade to the right that way. Okay, but big alligator mouth needs to be there. So the number on the number line to the left is a -6, -5, -4, closed circle, shaded left. All right, let's go back to an easier problem on the checking. Okay, let's go back to one of these. Let's go to this one. Let's go to the easiest one there is, okay? This picture says any number to the right works. So let's take 20. 20 is way down here somewhere. 20 plus 8 is 28. Is that bigger than 18? Yes, it is. Okay, that should work because it's shaded this way. Let's take a number down on this side. You good with zeros down here somewhere? 0 shouldn't work. If I put a 0 in here, 0 plus 8, 8 is greater than 18? No. Okay, so you should be using your number line to check these. Let's jump to this one. Okay, this picture says anything over here should work. Do you realize that 0 is right in here? Let's throw a 0 in here. 4 times 0? 4 times 0 is 0. Is 0 bigger than -8? Yes, it is. Okay, that worked. Okay, let's do something over here like a -4. -4 shouldn't work. It's not shaded. If we check a -4, that would be -16. Is -16 bigger than -8? No, it's way smaller. Okay, let's go to one of the tougher ones. Let's go to this one. Should 0 work or not? 0 should not work because it's not shaded. Let's make sure that that's the case. If I throw a 0 in for R, 4 times 0 is 0 plus 13. Is 13 smaller than 9? No. Remember we said 0 shouldn't work. Okay. Now, should -2 work? Yes, it's shaded. -2 should work. Let's throw it in there. If we throw a -2 in there, we'd have -8. -8 plus 13. -8 plus 13. We good with 5. 5 is less than 9. That works. Okay, so that's how you check these. It's important to stop and take a moment to do that. And you could do that just right in your head before you go to a next problem on a test or a quiz. Okay, thanks guys.